Welcome to 3rd and 21. This is show simply we do two things. We talk about college football, try to have a little fun. We talk about college football, try to have a little fun. And today we're going to have fun with the Pac-12 conference. I love the Pacific Athletic Conference. I love the vibe. I love the style. I love everything about it. But the Pac-12 does have some issues. Some of it they can correct. Some of it they can't. What they can't correct is when and where they play their games. Listen, everybody loves a night game at home. But if you start a game at 8 o'clock local time, that game's not going to finish till probably 2 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. And you're just not going to get the eyeballs on it that other teams would. Can't do anything about that. What the Pac-12 can do is start winning some games. Last year they were a putrid 1-8 in the bowl games. Their conference champion USC was smothered by Ohio State. Never had a chance in that game. Stanford lost. Washington lost. All the way down the list. 1-8, that can't happen. So what the Pac-12 can do is start winning some games. I'll pick 4 of them out here. One is the biggest, Washington against Auburn in Atlanta, first weekend. Second, we've got USC at Texas, Stanford at Notre Dame, and we'll throw this one in there. If they can just be competitive, it's going to help. Arizona State versus Michigan State at Arizona State. So, tell you what, let's break this thing down.
Welcome to 3rd and 21, a show where we talk about college football and try to have a little fun. Where we talk about college football and try to have a little fun. Now back to you, Kemper.
Yeah, welcome back to 3rd and 21. Two things. Talk about college football, try to have a little fun. So we're going to break down the Pac-12 South. And we're going to start with Arizona State, who has hired Herm Edwards.
You play to win the game.
As their head coach. And this is either going to be an absolute stroke of genius or it's going to fail miserably. I commend them for taking a shot at it. They've got a really difficult schedule as they pull Washington, Oregon, and Stanford from the north. And they also were playing San Diego State and Michigan State as some of their out-of-conference games. So Herm Edwards has got a decent team, but he's also got a very difficult schedule. All right, next up is Colorado, 5-7 last year. That was their follow-up from their conference championship of 2 years ago when they went 10-4. Very young at all position groups. None of my computer models have them getting to a bowl game this year. Next up is UCLA, and if UCLA was a stock, I would be buying it. Not necessarily for this year. They got to replace Josh Rosen. Their offensive line is weak. But Chip Kelly is coming in. I think he was a top shelf hire for UCLA. I can see his system working. I can see it working in Westwood, but it's going to take a few years. Not buying UCLA for this year, but I am buying stock in UCLA for upcoming years. Cool game. They're playing at Oklahoma second week. Keep your eye on that one. So Arizona hires Kevin Sumlin, and it is one of those things, it could work out for both of them. Arizona had to get rid of Rich Rodriguez in a unseemly controversy. Kevin Sumlin's sitting there. Man, Kevin Sumlin is offensive minded. His offense will work in the Pac-12, and he is inheriting the best quarterback in the conference, one of the best quarterbacks in the whole country, Khalil Tate. And one thing Kevin Sumlin can do is coach offense and coach quarterback. So watch out for Arizona. I see them getting to a bowl game this year. Next up is Utah. They like to call themselves the Sac Lake City defense. And again, they're going to have a very good defensive line. They've got a good secondary. They will get to a bowl game. And this is a pretty cool factoid. They've been to 15 bowl games since the year 2000. They've won 14 of them. So when they get to a bowl game, they win their bowl games. They were the only Pac-12 team last year to win a bowl game over West Virginia. So, but for a division champion, listen, USC has the best athletes. They do got to replace Sam Darnold. They're either going to start a true freshman or a redshirt freshman. That's asking a lot for quarterback at USC, but they've got athletes, and I see them at least winning this division. Cool games they've got out of conference at Texas, at Notre Dame. Those are just, you got to watch those games. So I see USC getting back out of this division, but when we come back from the break, we're going to break down the Pac-12 North, and there are some heavyweights in there. Stick around. Maxie Holmes, long on quality, short on drama. Maxie Holmes LLC. What else is long on quality is the Pac-12 North. We're going to start down here with Oregon State in a major rebuild year. They got a new coach, Jonathan Smith, who played quarterback at Oregon State and took the Beavers to a Rose Bowl. So it can be done. He knows it can be done. But none of my computer models have them winning more than 3 games this year. They open up on the road at Ohio State. Nope. No, sir. I see a 66-3 type game coming out of that. So anyway, Oregon State in a major rebuild. Next up, Washington State. I think Washington State's going to look back on last year with a bit of regret. The Pac-12 North was there for them and kind of slipped through their hands. Mike Leach is the coach, and that means 2 things. The press conferences are going to be absolutely hilarious, and they're going to throw the ball all over the place. But they're young on offense and defense. Bit of a rebuild for Washington State. Next up, there is a lot of positivity coming out of California. Justin Wilcox going into his 2nd year, 18 returning starters, 10 off the offense. So things are pointing in the right direction for California. Cool game, open up with UNC at Berkeley. Remember last year they went to Chapel Hill and won the game. This year UNC comes out to Berkeley, so that'll be a fun one to keep your eye on. Next up is Oregon. Things are changing at Oregon, and I'm not talking about the uniforms. I'm talking about a absolute commitment to defense. Mario Cristobal's coming in to his 1st year. He did coach the bowl game, and they laid an absolute egg in the bowl game. But he's a defensive-minded coach. Jim Leavitt is the defensive coordinator who's really a head coach mind in the defensive coordinator role. And they have made a commitment to defense. When you think of Oregon, you think of the uniforms, and you think of them running, throwing, scoring a lot of points. Defense is going to lead Oregon this year. Schedule sets up for them real nice, too, as they get Washington and Stanford at home. So things are looking good for Oregon. Now, these next 2 teams are legitimate playoff contenders. I've got Stanford here strictly because of the schedule. But when you look at Stanford, you know there's going to be a couple of. Bryce Love is an outstanding running back, Heisman Trophy quality running back, and he's going to be running behind an absolutely huge offensive line at Stanford, so they're going to have a whole herd of really good tight ends and a quarterback that can throw. Defense is going to be salty enough, but listen to this September as they start out at home against San Diego State, USC at home. They go on the road to Oregon, on the road to Notre Dame. That's a pretty heavy September. November 3rd, they play at Washington. That could be for the Pac-12 championship. And I've got Washington right here. Washington at the top, deservedly so. Absolutely great defense. Across the board, their defense is going to be stifling. Chris Peterson's coming into his 5th year. They've got a senior quarterback, Browning coming in, a good offensive line, good receivers, quality across the board. They open up against Auburn. And why is 4 the right number for the playoffs? Why not 8, 16, 32? Let everybody in. 4 is the right number because this is a playoff game. The first game of the year is a playoff game for Washington and really for the Pac-12. So anyway, with that, we're going to put a wrap on it. We're going to come back. We're going to do the ever-popular mailbag edition. Don't go anywhere.
Need an MRI or CT scan like this. You can spend thousands at a hospital or visit American Health Imaging and spend a fraction of that. We have registered technologists like Tina. Genius! Unlike hospitals, we'll have you in, out, and results to your doctor in a flash. Same day appointment, no problem. American Health Imaging. Your health, your money, your choice.
Welcome back, American Health Imaging. Hey, it's your health. It's your money. It's your choice. AmericanHealthImaging.com. Hey, listen, this is going to be the segment we like to call the ever popular mailbag. That's when you can write in, ask me any question. I'll do my level best to give you a clear and concise answer. Straight to the mailbag.
All right, Alan from Clovis, New Mexico. He asked, who's the best Heisman candidate of the Pac-12?
Khalil Tate is super exciting. Man, he's run for 1,400 yards last year. He threw for 1,500. Kevin Sumlin's going to be his coach. It's going to be exciting to watch him. I think if Jake Browning leads Washington to the playoffs, he's got to get a lot of consideration. But I would go with Bryce Love, super talented running back from Stanford, running behind a really good offensive line. Jake Browning or Bryce Love?
Craig from Los Angeles asked, who is the best hire of the Pac-12?
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of good ones. Look, Cristobal at Oregon, Sumlin, I can see that working. Herm Edwards, how's that going to work out? I don't know. But the best, there's no question, Chip Kelly at UCLA. UCLA is spending some money. I see his system working at UCLA. He's going to be able to get athletes there. Chip Kelly, UCLA. Next question.
Whoa, well, we got Edward from the UK.
Edward from the UK?
Yes, we're global, apparently.
All right.
Well, his question is, why the name 3rd and 21?
3rd and 21. Okay, Edward, it really is just how do you view football? If you look at 3rd and 21 as a bad thing, you view football from an offensive standpoint, and that's fine. But you've done some bad things to get yourself into a 3rd and 21, right? But you're saying there's a chance. Absolutely. If you can pick up 21 or more yards on 3rd and 21, man, you have dealt your opponent a real body blow. Now, if you're like me and can watch a 13-7 game and think that's entertaining, when you look at 3rd and 21, you've done some good things to get yourself in a 3rd and 21 position. But anything less than jogging off the field after the next play is a failure. So you've done some good things, but the job's not over. So 3rd and 21 is how you look at life, So with that, we're going to put a wrap on the mailbag and tell you, please like and subscribe. When we come back next week, we're going to break down the Big 12, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Have a great week until then.